My mom was secretly gambling, so I stopped letting borrow money, so she told my wife I was cheating on her with my ex and now we're separated. I'm a 28-year-old man, and I've been married to my wife, Sarah, 26, for 2 years. We dated for 4 years before getting married. We don't have children yet, but we were planning to start a family soon. My relationship with my mother, 52, has always been complicated. She raised me and my younger brother, Tim, 24, by herself after our father left when I was 10 and Tim was 6. Growing up, our family struggled financially. My mom worked multiple jobs to make ends meet, often leaving me to take care of Tim. I remember many nights when I had to cook dinner for us or help Tim with his homework because mom was working late. Despite the challenges, I always admired her determination to provide for us. As I got older, I started to notice that my mom relied on me emotionally more than she probably should have. She would often talk to me about her problems with work or relationships, even when I was still a teenager. I felt like I had to be strong for her, and I took on a lot of responsibility at a young age. When I got my first real job at 22, working as an entry-level accountant at a local firm, I started helping my mom financially. At first, it was just small things, buying groceries when I visited or helping her pay a utility bill. I didn't think much of it at the time. I felt it was my duty to help her after everything she had done for us. I met Sarah when I was 24. She was a nurse at the local hospital, and we hit it off immediately. As our relationship grew more serious, I started to see my family dynamic through her eyes. Sarah noticed how often I was helping my mom and expressed concern that I might be enabling her dependence on me. At the time, I brushed off her concerns, thinking she just didn't understand our family situation. Over the next few years, as Sarah and I got engaged and then married, my financial support for my mom increased. I was making more money at my job, and it seemed like my mom always had a new crisis that needed solving. Sometimes it was car repairs, other times it was unexpected medical bills. I always stepped in to help, often without questioning the details. Sarah and I had many discussions about this. She worried that my mom was taking advantage of my generosity and that it could affect our future plans. We wanted to buy a house and start saving for a family, but a significant portion of my income was going to my mom. I assured Sarah that it was temporary, that my mom just needed some help to get back on her feet. About 6 months ago, things took a turn. My mom called me in tears, saying she was behind on rent and would be evicted if she didn't come up with $2,000. Without hesitating, I transferred the money to her account. A week later, I noticed a strange charge on my bank statement. It was for an online casino. I usually didn't scrutinize my mom's expenses, but this time something felt off. I dug deeper into her recent transactions and discovered that she had used most of the money I gave her for online gambling. I was shocked and angry. I confronted her about it, and she broke down, admitting that she had developed a gambling problem over the past year. She claimed she was trying to win enough money to pay me back and become financially independent. I told her I couldn't keep supporting her if she was going to gamble the money away. I insisted that she get help for her addiction and told her I wouldn't give her any more money until I saw real change. She promised to stop gambling and seek help. For a couple of months, things seemed to improve. My mom stopped asking for money, and I thought maybe the tough love approach had worked. Sarah and I started to focus on our own plans again, looking at houses and discussing when we might start trying for a baby. Then, last week, everything fell apart. Sarah came home from her shift at the hospital looking upset. She told me that my mom had called her at work and accused me of cheating on Sarah with my ex-girlfriend, Lisa. Lisa and I had dated briefly in college, long before I met Sarah, and we hadn't spoken in years. I was completely blindsided by this accusation. I tried to explain to Sarah that it wasn't true, but she was understandably hurt and confused. My mom had told her she had proof in the form of text messages between Lisa and me. I had no idea how she could have gotten these messages or what they might say. Sarah asked to see my phone and my messages. I gave them to her without hesitation, knowing there was nothing to hide. But the damage was already done. The seed of doubt had been planted, and Sarah didn't know what to believe. She said she needed some time to think things through and went to stay with her sister. I've been trying to understand why my mom would do this. Is it revenge for cutting off her financial support? Has her gambling addiction led her to more extreme behavior? I'm caught in the middle of this nightmare, and I don't know how to fix it. I've always loved my mom and felt responsible for her well-being, but now I'm starting to see how unhealthy our relationship has been. I'm worried about losing Sarah, the woman I love and want to build a future with, because of my mom's actions. I don't know how to balance my family loyalty with my marriage, and I'm afraid I might lose everything. Update 1. It's been 2 weeks since my initial post, and the situation has only gotten worse. Sarah still hasn't come home, and our communication has been limited to a few text messages. She's made it clear that she's not ready for a face-to-face conversation yet. I miss her terribly, but I understand that she needs time to process everything. In one of her messages, Sarah told me that she doesn't know what to believe anymore. That statement hit me hard. The trust we've built over 6 years has been shaken by my mom's lies, and I'm at a loss for how to rebuild it. I decided to confront my mom about her accusations. At first, she denied everything, claiming she was just looking out for me. But as I pressed her for details, her story started to fall apart. Finally, after hours of back and forth, she admitted that she had made up the whole thing. Her explanation was that she thought Sarah was going to leave me eventually, and she was trying to protect me by breaking us up first. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I asked her how she could do something so cruel, but she seemed unable to grasp the severity of her actions. During our conversation, I learned that she had fabricated the text messages she claimed to have. She had used an old phone of mine that I had given her years ago, created fake conversations, and then showed screenshots to Sarah. The level of deception was staggering. I've decided to cut off all contact with my mom for now. She keeps calling and texting, alternating between apologies and attempts to justify her actions, but I'm not responding. I need to focus on trying to salvage my relationship with Sarah. My brother, Tim, has been a surprising source of support during this time. When I finally told him what had happened, he wasn't as shocked as I expected. He revealed that he had stopped talking to our mom a few months ago because she had borrowed money from him and used it for gambling, just like she had done with me. Tim shared some stories from his own experiences with our mom that made me realize how manipulative she's been over the years. He told me about times when she had pitted us against each other, or made up emergencies to get money or attention. It's been eye-opening to compare notes with him and see the patterns in her behavior. I've been doing a lot of reflecting on my relationship with my mom. I'm starting to see how she's used guilt and emotional manipulation to keep me tethered to her. I feel angry, not just at her, but at myself for not seeing it sooner. Sarah had tried to warn me, but I wasn't ready to hear it. Sarah's sister reached out to me a few days ago. She said that Sarah is still really hurt but is considering coming back to talk things through. I'm hopeful, but I also know that there's no quick fix for this kind of betrayal. I've been thinking about what I want to say to Sarah when we do talk. I want her to know that I'm committed to setting better boundaries with my mom and that I'm willing to do whatever it takes to rebuild our trust. But I'm also scared that it might be too late. In the meantime, I've been trying to keep myself busy. I've thrown myself into work, started seeing a therapist to work through my family issues, and even joined a support group for people with family members who have gambling addictions. It's been helpful to talk to others who understand what I'm going through. I'm also starting to think about what my relationship with my mom might look like moving forward, if we have one at all. I know I can't cut her off completely, she's still my mom, and I worry about her. But I also know that I can't keep enabling her behavior or letting her interfere in my life. This whole situation has made me realize how much I've neglected my own needs and wants over the years. I've always been so focused on taking care of everyone else that I never really thought about what I wanted for myself. Now, as I face the possibility of losing my marriage, I'm having to confront some hard truths about the choices I've made. I'm hoping that Sarah will be willing to work through this with me, but I'm also trying to prepare myself for the possibility that she might not. Either way, I know I have a lot of work to do on myself and my relationships. I just hope it's not too late to save the most important one. Update 2, it's been another month, and I wish I had better news to share. Sarah finally agreed to meet with me last week. We decided to take a walk in the park near our house, a place where we used to spend a lot of time together. As soon as I saw her, I could tell that something had changed. She seemed distant and kept avoiding eye contact. We started with some awkward small talk about work and the weather. It felt strange to be discussing such mundane topics when there was so much unresolved between us. Finally, Sarah got to the real reason for our meeting. She told me that she had been doing a lot of thinking over the past weeks. She said that while she believed I hadn't cheated on her, the fact that my mom was able to cause such chaos in our relationship had made her feel vulnerable. She expressed fear that even if we got back together, my mom would always be a problem in our lives. I tried to reassure her that I had cut off contact with my mom and that I was committed to maintaining strong boundaries. I told her about the therapy I've been doing and the support group I've joined. But Sarah said it wasn't just about my mom anymore. She explained that this situation had made her question whether we were truly right for each other. She brought up past arguments we'd had about my family and how she had always felt like she came second. She said she loved me but wasn't sure if love was enough to overcome all the issues we were facing. Hearing Sarah say these things was incredibly painful. I wanted to argue, to tell her that we could work through anything together, but I could see in her eyes that she had already made up her mind. Sarah suggested that we take some time apart to really think about what we want. She proposed a trial separation of 3 months. During this time, we would live separately and limit our contact. At the end of the 3 months, we would reassess our relationship and decide whether to work on it or end it permanently. I agreed to the separation, even though it was the last thing I wanted. I felt like I was losing my best friend and partner, but I also knew that pushing her to stay would only make things worse. We spent the next hour discussing the logistics of our separation. Sarah would continue staying with her sister, and I would remain in our apartment. We agreed on how to handle our shared finances and decided to only contact each other if absolutely necessary. As we were saying goodbye, Sarah hesitated for a moment. She reached out and squeezed my hand, telling me that she was sorry things had turned out this way. It took every ounce of self-control I had not to break down right there in the park. Since that meeting, I've been trying to focus on myself. I've continued with therapy and have started exploring some new hobbies to keep myself occupied. I've joined a local hiking group and have been spending more time outdoors, which has been helpful in clearing my head. I've also had to deal with the fallout from my decision to cut off contact with my mom. She's been telling family members and mutual friends that Sarah abandoned me because she couldn't handle our family. It's frustrating to hear these lies being spread, but I'm trying to stay above it and not engage. My brother Tim has been keeping me updated on our mom's situation. Apparently, she's still gambling and has been asking other family members for money. It's hard to hear, but it also reinforces that I made the right decision in setting boundaries. As the days pass, I find myself oscillating between hope and despair. Part of me believes that this time apart will help Sarah see that we can overcome this obstacle. Another part of me is terrified that she'll realize she's happier without me. For now, all I can do is focus on becoming the best version of myself. Whether Sarah and I end up together or not, I know I need to address my own issues and learn to set healthier boundaries. It's a difficult journey, but I'm committed to seeing it through. Update 3. It's been 3 months since my last update, and I'm writing this with a heavy heart. Sarah and I are officially separated. After our trial separation period ended, we met to discuss our future, and it became clear that the trust between us had been irreparably damaged. We tried couples counseling for a few sessions, hoping that a professional could help us navigate through our issues. During these sessions, we talked about the impact my mom's actions had on our relationship, but we also uncovered other underlying problems that we had been ignoring. Sarah expressed that she had always felt like she was competing with my family for my attention and loyalty. She said that even before the incident with my mom, she had been unhappy with how much of our resources, both financial and emotional, were being directed towards my family issues. I realized that I had been so focused on trying to take care of everyone else that I had neglected my relationship with Sarah. I had always thought I was doing the right thing by helping my family, but I now see how it came at the cost of my marriage. After much discussion and soul-searching, we both agreed that the best thing for us was to go our separate ways. It was an incredibly difficult decision, but we both felt it was necessary for our individual growth and happiness. We've started the process of dividing our assets and figuring out the logistics of our separation. It's been challenging, but we're trying to keep things amicable. We've agreed to minimal contact for now to give each other space to heal. As for my mom, I still haven't spoken to her since everything happened. Tim has been keeping me updated, and it seems she still doesn't understand the gravity of what she did. She's convinced herself that I'll eventually forgive her and things will go back to normal. But I don't see that happening, at least not anytime soon. I've been focusing on rebuilding my life. I've moved into a new apartment and have been trying to establish new routines. I'm still in therapy, working through my family issues and learning how to set healthier boundaries. Work has been a welcome distraction. I've taken on some new projects at the accounting firm, which have been keeping me busy. I've also been spending more time with friends, reconnecting with people I had neglected during my marriage. It's been a difficult journey, full of ups and downs. Some days, I feel optimistic about the future and excited about the possibilities ahead. Other days, the loneliness and regret hit hard, and I find myself missing Sarah and the life we had planned together. I'm trying to take it one day at a time and focus on personal growth. I don't know what the future holds, but I do know that I'm done letting other people's problems dictate my life. It's a painful lesson, but one I needed to learn. For now, I'm working on finding a balance between being there for my family and taking care of myself. It's not easy, but I'm committed to creating a healthier,